Welcome to the Creative Brew, helping you keep your creative juices brewing. We're giving out chunks of insight, motivation, and practicality for your creative journey. And welcome to a new episode of the Creative Brew, giving you insights on your creative journey. This episode is brought to you by a few great sponsors of mine. First of all, Panels, Comics, and Coffee Bar here in beautiful Oceanside, California. Actually, sort of overcast today, but they have some of the hottest graphic novels and comics out right now. And they also have an assortment of merchandise, toys, as well as back issue vintage comic books. So if you're a hardcore comic book nerd like me, that is the place to be right now. So go up there, grab a coffee, grab some books, and check it out. So if you mention the Creative Brew, you'll get 10% off your next purchase. You can also check them out on Instagram and Facebook at Panels Coffee, or go to panelscoffee.com for more information. Another sponsor of mine is Elevate Coffee Trading. And if you appreciate specialty coffee, enjoy outdoor adventure, and love helping elevate the lives of children around the world, then you're going to love Elevate Coffee Trading. Their mission is to extract hope through love, coffee, and adventures. There's free shipping in the United States, and every bag of coffee helps sponsor health and education in children in coffee-producing countries and areas of need in the United States. You can use the promo code Elevate21 on your next order, and you can follow their journey on social media at Elevate Coffee Trading, or visit online at elevatecoffeetrading.com, and let's start extracting hope together. Another partner of mine is Astropad, and if you are a digital creator like me, then Astropad actually turns your iPad Pro or your Windows tablet into another professional graphics tablet. So you can use all your favorite programs. For me, I love Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. I'm always using those depending on what project I'm doing. Astropad actually allows me to work directly right on my iPad Pro. So it's a great tool, great asset for any digital creator. Anybody that, if you happen to be working on some projects at coffee shops, Astropad is a great tool. So I suggest you at least check it out, try it out. They have a month-to-month and a annual subscription, but I promise you'll be very pleased with it. You can check them out at astropadapp.com, or you can go to social at astropadapp. And then my last partner is Cobo Pod, which is where we're at today. And Cobo Pod is a boutique video and audio production studio that's here and based in Oceanside. And if you're a podcaster, vlogger, content creator, anyone that's looking to try to build new content for your brand and sort of increase that brand awareness with your audiences, then come on by, check it out. Every guest that I've brought in has been amazed by the setup, amazed by the quality, the production value of the show once we release an episode. So if you're thinking about doing a podcast, or you're wanting to create content for any other thing you may have an idea for, swing by, check out the venue, or you can book a session, and I promise you'll be very pleased. So you can go to cobopod.org and let's book your session today. So today I have a guest with me, Rheigan. I hope I said that. Did I say that correct?
Yes.
All right.
I know it's a little confusing.
Yeah, I know.
Made up name and all.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a made up name too.
Yeah.
But Rheigan.
No partake in that.
Yeah.
Wasn't born yet.
But Rheigan is the social media coordinator with Come On Over Cafe that's here in Oceanside, and this is actually another part of the episode, since we actually tried to record this previously, and due to technical issues and sound, it didn't come out like I hoped, but we actually have her in now, and so yeah, we're going to talk about Come On Over Cafe, how did it start, talk about her story. She has a great story. And hopefully, if you're anyone that's into dance, this might be the episode for you. So maybe you're thinking about trying to get into ballroom dancing, or you're thinking about trying to do anything like that. This may be the episode you might want to check out. So I'll let her fire away and tell her story and talk a little bit about Come On Over Cafe.
Well, it's good to be back. It's nice to see you again. Yeah, so my name is Rheigan. I am currently a dance teacher and barista. It's a great combo. I was a performer for, I want to say, since I was in third grade, and then I professionally made money off of it when I started working at Legoland when I was 16. So that was pretty cool because I loved to perform. It was like my favorite thing. I loved getting up on a stage and doing that sort of thing and creating something so special for people to never forget. It's like an entertainment thing, you know. And my dad and my mom are like jocks. They like had no understanding of like me doing that. They both have like stage fright kind of. And they're like, "How do you do that?" And it's just one of those things that you have like a lot of performers have a gift of wanting to make an experience for people. And I love doing it, and being able to professionally get paid for it while I was still in high school was pretty cool. So I was homeschooled from kindergarten basically until I graduated during COVID, so that was super fun. I like mobile ordered my diploma and like picked it up in a car. So, I mean, it was whatever. I was homeschooled, so it wasn't that big of a deal for me. But I currently teach kids now, and it's amazing being able to teach kids and see their development because I teach 6th through 8th. So from seeing them in 6th grade to what they are now in 8th grade is just so special. And it's like you're growing up with these kids, and it's like really cool. So I started doing that when I was like 15. So I started working when I was 15, which is crazy because the high school life and that kind of stuff wasn't meant for me. I was workaholic. It like runs in our family. Yeah. So I loved working, and now I work at my aunt's coffee shop. I've been there for about a year and a half now, almost 2 years now. It's crazy. I love it, but it's so cool to like be able to work with your two best friends all day. It's my aunt and my uncle. So it's my aunt is the owner, Andrea Hiles. She's absolutely amazing, probably the nicest person you'll ever meet in the whole wide world.
Yeah, she is.
Right? I know, and her laugh is just so contagious. She's so sweet. And then Dave is my uncle, and he's such a cool guy, and we just have so much fun there. And it just like doesn't feel like work. Like we're working, of course, but it never feels like it because you're just enjoying it the whole time, and you get to meet all these new people and like hear their story, and they become regulars, and then you remember their order, and then it's just like a great environment. And the last time we met up, I was talking to him about how we have this different environment at our coffee shop. It feels more like home than like a coffee shop you go in and like do work and just grab a coffee or something. It's always inviting, and we know your story. We know who you are. If we don't, we want to hear it. And I just think it's such a great like atmosphere to come in, and like even if you want to do your work or just hang out with your friends, like we have all different types of people that come in, and we love everybody equally, and we try to show that through our customer service, which we always joke about that we're a little too much on. We like get reviews about they're like they checked on us like 7 times, and it's just like oh sorry. I was just trying to make sure you're doing okay, but we just want to make it the most inviting place as we can and more comfortable, and serve great coffee, great food. And we're known as the hidden gem in Oceanside because it's a little complicated to get there, but it's always worth it once you find us. And she's owned it for about 3 years now, and she's done it on her own. My aunt, I look up to her so much. She's probably one of the strongest women I know, and being able to have her as like my best friend and my boss is like the coolest thing ever. And she like does the business on her own. She does like the license, the shopping, like everything. And like me and Dave work there and like help her out, but like it's her shop. And like I admire that so much, especially like she is pulling through COVID too. Like we got on the mark where I know like it takes about 3 years for a small business to skyrocket. Like that's basically how much time it takes for any business starting up. Like the 3-year mark is like game time. And we hit our 3-year mark literally a month before COVID hit. So we had to start back to square one, basically, when we reopened after we were put into quarantine. And she's just powered through it like she normally does. And she's making it work. And, it's so cool to, like, come into work and I'm working and I just hear people like talking about how great the place is and how great she is, it just makes me feel good because I'm like, she's doing it, she's got it. Like, your little cheerleader, it like makes me like tear up a little bit because she deserves that recognition so much. She's such a hard worker, and I admire her so much for that.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that work ethic that your aunt has? Do you feel like it rubbed off on you?
Our whole
pretty early?
family is like that. It's crazy. We're all like workaholics. It's like in the best way possible. But no, like we've all been working since we were 15. Like it's just a thing. It's runs in our family. We just work. It's like that work ethic we have, that drive is just part of our family. Like we're all that way. Like my siblings are the same way, you know, and like both of my aunts are the same way. My mom definitely got it from her. She's nuts. She's such a hard worker too. And my dad, and he was like a firefighter and a paramedic forever. And he's just, I always thought that was really cool. I was like, yeah, my dad's saving lives. Like, it's like kind of like, I don't know what he's doing. But he would be gone for a while, but I always knew he was doing something good, you know, and it's just cool to see that like my family line is just so like diverse, but so driven, and we're always so passionate about what we do that it like even increases it a little more, so then it gets a little more intense. But it's still really, I'm very lucky to be in the family I grew up in, to have that for sure, that maturity and that work ethic that's been put in to me. So
I think you just brought up a very interesting point. You know, you were talking about, you know, those certain things that drive you, and even from a family dynamic, you know, it just sort of rubs off on each other, almost like a family. That's the family culture. You know, it's me, you know, personally, I'm from the South. I'm from Tennessee, and it's sort of weird coming out here because it's like it's real conservative, you know, work, you know, hard work, and you know, you get out here and it's sort of a different culture. Yeah. And it took me about a good year to like why is, you know, like why are people not doing anything on Fridays or something like that? Like why is everybody sort of relaxing on the weekends?
I know.
I still, you know what, I still have that. I've learned to sort of relax a little bit, but I still got that sort of that driven mentality. Now I think that just comes from sports. Been in sports all my life, but I didn't know for you, like what is that thing that, you know, you talked about a little bit, but what thing sort of drives you or sort of compels you? Even I know we talked about it briefly, you know, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in the episode. But I know you're a performer and a dancer and a dance teacher. What things, you know, internally for you drives you right now to sort of do the things that you do?
It's always been like to have a purpose in something, and I know for some reason it always feels weird that feel like I have a purpose to help people. Like it's always been my thing, like teaching kids or volunteering or I don't know, just like making someone's day. That feels right to me. Like it always has, like being a princess at Legoland and like those kids. I know it sounds so dumb, like me helping people. No, but like being a princess at Legoland like really sparked that for me, because you don't realize the little things you do for people go so far. Like me pretending to be a princess, dressing up in something for my job didn't feel like a job. I felt like I was doing something for kids, because you don't know their story. Like you don't know anybody's story. So it's interesting to see for me personally, like I've always tried to be kind to people because I'm like, I don't know what's going on in their life. And being able to be that bright light just for that day, for that kid, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, this is what I'm meant to do. And like always being like a kind person, like the little things, like we talked about last episode that we tried to do. It was like the little things, like opening doors for people. Like it could shift their day so drastically, you have no idea. So like I always think, I'm like, it takes more energy to be mean than to be nice. And I'm like, it never clicked with me being like, you know, not nice. I don't know why. It just always felt weird to me. To like, I know it sounds really bizarre,
No,
but
well,
like,
it's not bizarre. I mean,
like the masks are really hurting me, man. People don't know I'm smiling at them. It's just like this little like eye win. So I'm like, oh no. But I don't know. And like my aunt's the same way. Like people who come into the shop just absolutely adore her. And I get it. Like she's so contagiously happy and kind, and everybody loves to like talk to her and like tell her stuff. They like update her on her life, and she like remembers things. Like she's genuinely a very, very nice person, and I look up to her a lot for that.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Yeah, that's things like that. It's contagious. I mean, you get people that are genuinely and authentically, they want to see you do good. They want to see the good in you. It for a lot of people, I don't know. I mean, especially now, it could be very hard. I mean, it could be very easy for a lot of people just to sort of be in their own little bubble, and maybe if they're having certain stresses or maybe they're mad about something, and they. People come up to them and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And then they just sort of, blow up on somebody. I don't know. It's just it's real hard to do that. I mean, it's easier just to to come out and tell someone, "Hey, look, I hope you have a great day," or give someone a couple of words of inspiration. And that's something I mean, I think you pretty much nailed it on the head, but. Those are things that I try to do in my in my class after practice. I'm even between talking with my little kids class and then my adult class, I sort of say different things to them. But I'm amazed even with a lot of the adults that some of them are younger, some of them are older than me. But it's one of those where I still get people coming up to me and say, "Hey, thank you for saying that. Like I needed that." I mean, I've had people. Because I work with military, I work with all kinds of people. People have told me stuff after the practice that it's just like one of those where, if I didn't say that to them, I don't know where as far as where they may end up. I mean I know on a quick story. I said I won't go into who it was. Good friend of mine, good kid. In the military, and I mean, it was one day I'd said something to the class, and I didn't realize it until after the practice. He came to me and was like, "Hey, look, thank you for saying that." He's like, guys in the military said, my best friend just killed himself, and he's like, "Look, I'm thankful for you." Saying those words. He's like, I appreciate it. So it's just one of those where, even from your platform as a, as a Legoland, former Legoland performer, but even as but even
Legoland performer,
but even as a ballroom, teacher, and you're molding these kids, or even as helping with your aunt at the, at Come On Over. It's just one of those where people enjoy that. When they get the sense of feeling that, hey, someone cares about me, that's it.
It's those little things really, because I have been one of those. I haven't had the easiest time in life, but I never let it affect who I am. Like I've had a couple like experiences, like a couple of friends like committing suicide. I've had like a bunch of stuff, but it's not how like what happened to you, it's how you take it. Is how it is. It's not, because a lot of the times, especially with social media now, people like to use it as like leverage. Like what? Like what do you mean? And then it's like it always, like I felt it, but it never made me different. It always like made me stronger. And I think a lot of people like lose that, and I always go back to my aunt. She's such a great person, and like no matter what goes on in her life, she is constantly a ray of sunshine. Like it's so admirable to see someone like that, especially when you own a business by yourself. Like you look in like cartoons and like memes or whatever these days, like business owners are like super crazy and harsh and like money hungry, when that's like not even her intention at all. She just like had a dream, made it come true, made it into something so much bigger than what she expected and more special than she ever could have imagined. And she did it. And it's crazy. It's like crazy. I'm like, well, my aunt, you know, like we used to put like olives on our fingers at Thanksgiving and like call them like nails, you know, and that she like owns a business. It's like crazy. And I'm so extremely proud of her and everything she's done. And she's always been very generous, and she's never stopped ever. Like not even when she's having a rough time, never has stopped. And like I said, owning a business and having that personality is so different yet so special, and I admire her so much for everything she's done with her life.
Yeah,
really.
Well, I think, you know, with something I heard recently, and you know, it's just they talk about just learning how to raise your kids. You know, I get, you know, I personally for
Hopefully
me,
I'm not there yet.
yeah,
But
you know, I've got two sons, and I got 4 grandkids, and you know, a lot of them, you know, I'm always having to, you know, always talking to them, or you know, they're starting to grow up now. They're starting to get into that like little middle school stage where it's like, who are you?
Oh my gosh.
But
no.
yeah, when they was a little bit younger, they, you know, they always used to love me, you know, telling them stories, and you know, even like, you know, showing my artwork, you know, like for doing some kind of FaceTime or something, they're like, let me see your artwork. So you know, I show them what I'm working on, but like even in as far as in your capacity, you know, seeing your crazy aunt do something and you know, manifest something that, you know, just out of the blue, and running our own business and doing our own thing. I think kids, when kids see that physically, they see someone actually doing that really helps the kid. It's like, it's no, I've heard, you know, just, and I know from experience, you know, kids, you know, they're not gonna, you know, they usually model what they see. It's like, they're not, I could tell them something and like, you know, like, oh, whatever. But until they actually see it, that's when they actually model it. So even with you, you know, being able to see that physically, that, like I said, that only helps you out. And so I can definitely see how that, you know, that drive and that work ethic is just, you know, rubbed off on you.
Runs in the blood, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, no, she's great. And I mean, my whole family is very inspiring, you know, like from my grandma to me. I'm like the last, like youngest for my mom, but I have like 2 little cousins who are adorable. I love them. But yeah, it's crazy to see the like generation of all of us. And we're all so diverse in what we do too. It's not like we're all like doing the same thing, like generation after generation. Like, you're going to take this on because we all do it. It's like everybody does something different in our family. And I think it's very cool that we all have our own thing and we're all so passionate about it. And that's like another thing I love about my aunt's shop is it's family based. It's family owned. So it's me, I'm her niece, and then my uncle and my aunt. So it's like really cool to see that like family business, the heart in it, you know? Because like if you go to like a mainstream restaurant, it's like you expect the mainstream restaurant, but like when you know what I mean? Like you expect that's what it is. But you go into like local businesses that are family owned, and it's so like the environment is so different. You can always tell. Like, and I just love when everybody comes into the coffee shop, they're always just genuinely so pleased with everything. And it just like makes my heart melt a little bit, because I'm like, I always like cheer her on. Like I said, like I'm her little cheerleader. Like I can't help but like feel so good because she's like doing it. Like she's doing it. And I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, this is so cool. Like she has a whole coffee shop and she's made it into something so special. Like so like far from just a coffee shop. It's like a place you go to. Like people have like, we'll be like, oh, there are people coming in on Thursday. Like we know who's coming in on Thursday and like Friday and Saturday. Like those, they pick those days to come in. And I'm like, that is so cool. Like they're like, okay, it's 12:30. We got to go to the cafe now. So I just think that's really cool. And the fact that she like put together all these sandwiches from just like, oh, this will taste good together, you know, and then like people just have favorites and it's like crazy.
Yeah. Well, I know my favorite is the veggie sandwich.
That one's my favorite too.
Yeah,
it's so good.
That was awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to make a little a day to go over there. I've got my spots that I go to with a lot of my coffee shops and restaurants and stuff. So I've got my spots, but yeah, I'm gonna, because I mean that's right. It's literally a couple blocks down from my gym anyway. So I was like, I'm gonna have to go over there and you know, one day and I'm like, hey, I'm swinging over. Now, do you start come on over? Do they serve breakfast too?
Yeah, we have
Okay.
like a couple breakfast items. We have like the bacon Swiss, which is like on a croissant. It has like egg, bacon, Swiss cheese, and then sun-dried tomatoes on it. And then we have our famous breakfast bagel where you pick your bagel and your cheese, and then it has egg, bacon, and avocado. And then we have like the mainstream avocado toast and all that stuff. But we serve anything all day. Like we have people come in at 7 a.m. when we open and order a tuna. And we serve anything all day. So it's not like a time limit on anything. So, but yeah, we have some really great options, and I think it's really cool that we have like a build your own part of the menu. So like if you can't decide what you want and you want to like pick and choose, you can build your own.
I love doing that too.
Right. Yeah. Right.
My wife can't stand me. Like I'll go to other restaurants and like I never pick like anything off the menu. Like I always like start concocting and experimenting with stuff. So like I'll get something like, can you add avocado and this and this and this? And I was like, just get what's on the menu. I was like, no.
I know. I like go to Pyology with my boyfriend and I'm like, can I just get like a Hawaiian or like a margarita pizza? And he's like doing his own thing, and he's like, I'll take all the meats, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And he's like already like a quiet speaker and the mask, and it like takes longer because they're like, what? And he's like, the can I get this? I'm like, oh no. But yeah, it's fun. It's very cool to be a part of something my like bloodline created, you know. Like it's different when you're like being a part of something like, okay, someone's making something and he's the CEO, and then you're the CFO, but you're not related in any way. Yeah. But being able to like have my aunt own something and like watch her like persevere through everything and like prosper into something so incredible, I'm just like that's my aunt right there. Hey, that's my girl.
Hey, quick motivational rant for any small business owners. I am one as well. It can be tough. It can be tough, and you know what? If you hear this, keep up the good fight. Keep going. Persevere. Keep going. You've got it. So. I don't think a lot of people, you know, in social media can really discuss that a lot of times. Like people don't realize, you know, they're like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a business owner. I was like, no, you don't understand the work ethic that is required.
You gotta drive, man.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, you almost have to have a crazy kind of drive to, you know, want to, you know, do your own thing. So, but if you are doing that, if you have your own art business, or you got your own brand or your own business, keep up the good fight. Keep going.
It. We're cheering you on over here in the studio.
Always, hey, always cheering, because it's people. Yeah, it's social media. You'll see all the great times on social media.
Gosh.
You don't ever see the see the bad
blood,
times.
Blood, sweat, and tears that go into it, man.
I know a couple times. I know about 4 or 5 times. Actually, about 10 times. I was like, hey, I'm about to give this up.
I'm cutting it out, man. I can't do it. Time out.
It's sort of weird. Every time I've said that, like some opportunity pops up. Like,
right?
I'm like,
it's crazy how that works when you're like ready to give up, and then the world is like, no,
that's when like, that's when you know you're on the right track. But like, nope, just keep going.
Because it gets to you sometimes. You know, it really does. And you have to allow yourself to have those breaks to be able to do the best that you can, but you also can't be like lazy with it. You have to find that good like middle ground to it all, which is hard to figure out. And that's why it's okay to like fail every once in a while. Like people always think they have to do everything so perfect, like you said, because social media only shows the good parts. And I'm like, no, it's not just that. It's like there's always those difficult times that you have, and you have to go through those to learn, and like sometimes you like learned that like, okay, like we started opening on Mondays, but it's kind of like slow, so we're like trying to figure out those things. It's like you have to take risks in order to succeed, but also be willing to fail to be better, So it's just how the perspective you have on it, I guess you would say.
It's all it is. You can either think about, what could happen, what could go wrong, or
ifs,
or you could, think about, hey, if we do this, if we actually, create this, or we actually, build this business, or, anything, so much good can come out of it. It's just one of those where, even with your aunt, getting the business and building it up, it's a haven for a lot of people to come in and talk and congregate. And, so it's just one of those where, it can be hard. It's very hard, but, it's just one of those where always, find your why. And I think once you start with why, you find your why are you doing this? I think that always keep driving you.
It's always good to go back to why you started it. It's always good to look back on, okay, when I was doing this, what was my purpose for it? Not because most of the time I'm guilty of it too, like panicking. I'm a panicker sometimes. I work well under pressure, but sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, what am I doing? But it's always good to like look back on your purpose of why you started whatever you're doing, like job, business, anything, activity, whatever. Because, my brother used to skateboard and he didn't really do it for a couple years because he did football, but he really enjoyed skating, so I like went and got him like a full skateboard set. Like did it right though. I was like, I like asked the guy, I was like, what do I get? Like, I don't know anything. And I was like texting my boyfriend, like, what do I get? And they're like helping me. But he did it. And like, sometimes you get discouraged because you're not landing something or whatever. But the whole reason why he does it is because he loves it and he like wants to be good at it. And it's like a driving thing. And it's like his break from life, is to skate. And that's the same with my boyfriend, like surfing, skating, snowboarding. My brother and my boyfriend are the same. It's like a getaway, and it's not to be the best person out there. It's to enjoy yourself, like that's why I dance, it's my release, So it's just always finding whatever in life you're doing, either if it's for your passion or for like money or whatever. You always go back to the purpose that you wanted to start it for, not the end product, because you're not there yet. So everyone always looks at point A and Z, and I'm like, there's like 20 other letters in between that. I'm like, you got to calm down a little bit.
Yep. I mean, you always have to course correct, even with a plane, and a plane doesn't go from point A to point, to, to its destination.
San Diego, to LA airport.
It's constantly doing little variations, doing little checks through the air, make sure it's going the right course. So it's just, I think that's a, sort of complimentary of our lives. I mean, especially for people that's, that's sort of developing and trying to grow as a person and trying to, really just trying to be the best version of themselves, is knowing that you're always going to have to course correct. You're always going to have to sort of check back, every day, every week, every month, and be like, okay, is this the right destination for me? Is this like, do I need to be going? Or, you can feel like, okay, yeah, you know what, we're going the right destination. Maybe I just need to, pivot a couple of things but I think people need to really, do that. It's a lot of people, there's a lot of people, it's a lot of hard workers. But what happens is that you can go 100 miles an hour and, work and not realize that you might be going right into a brick wall if you're not careful.
I'm so guilty of that. I can't even tell you how many times I've done that.
Yeah, and I know for all my workaholics, I'm one too. It's one of those ways. It's very easy to put your head down and just go. And it's one of those where I've doing my best now to sort of balance that out and sort of recheck. Tell myself, where am I going with things? What things are working, what things are not working, and then going from there. But I think it's just constant, just reevaluation. And I think if you can't do that, then you're going to end up 20 years from now in a place that you don't want to be in.
And it's also crazy because, like, as a fellow workaholic, I had this teacher in high school who like saved my butt in high school. He's like, I owe him so much, you know. His name was Mr. Morningstar. I called him DJ Morningstar because we always shared music with each other. And so he would always tell me like I had 3 jobs in high school and I was doing like high school stuff. So, and I was like, and he understood the reason why I did it, you know, like he worked with me and like got those things together, and he was so understanding and so great. But then I would like go to meetings and he's like, how are you doing? I was like, good, I'm busy. And he goes, no, like, have you relaxed at all in a couple days? And I'm like, I don't remember. I was like, I honestly don't. And I think that's like another thing for workaholic people, is that we forget to check in not with what we're doing, but within ourselves. Like, are we doing okay? Like, are we taking enough breaks? But it's hard because then I feel awkward when I have a day off. I genuinely do. Yeah. Like, I had a day off like last week, and I was like, no idea what to do with myself. I was like, I don't know what to do. And I would like clean, and I was like, no, I need to chill out. It's okay. And then I like do something, and I was like, it just like makes me jittery. But like, I have to understand to get in that mode that like sometimes your body and your mind need that break to do better. Because if you're going and going and going, you burn out, and you can't burn out. And I've burned out so many times in my span of 18 years on this earth. It's crazy, and it sounds dramatic, but it's true. I've definitely hit a wall a couple times, and I haven't learned quite yet how to stop it, but I think I'll get there.
Well, it's amazing. You how many times you crash and burn before?
Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you. It's crazy because I just go and go and go and go. Because I remember one time, because in musical theater we have this thing called Tech Week, and literally a week before Tech Week, I was doing Tech Week for my show that I was in at Legoland. And so I would do a work day, and then I would stay there for 2 hours, then do rehearsal till 10 p.m. at night that whole week. And then the next week I was with my kids, which I would be there from like, I want to say 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. And then I would have to watch the show like Thursday through Sunday. And then Monday I started my show at Legoland, and it was just nutty. It was so nutty. And I like, after the show was over, I burned out so bad. I was like, whoa. I was like, I gotta go back to work. I was like, oh my gosh, it was crazy. And I was 16 when I did that too. So that was crazy. And like, I just started driving too. So I was like panic driving too. And I'm like driving from place to place. I'm like looking over my shoulder every 5 seconds. I'm like, new driver over here. I was like always on edge that like 3 weeks of my life. I was like, that was a crazy one. But I've learned to slow down a little bit better. I used to be really, really bad. I would literally go from job to job to job. Like literally wake up at 5 a.m. and get home at like 11. And it was crazy. I was like 16 or 17. I don't know why. It just felt better. I was like, I don't want to go to school. Yeah. It was just like, I think it was like, I don't know, junior year. I didn't go to like homecoming or prom or anything. And then I don't think I went anywhere. I think I did sophomore year, but senior year I did go to homecoming, and I genuinely regretted it. I was like, why am I here? I was like got ready, and I was like, this will be fun. And I went with my other friend who was also homeschooled. We had been friends forever, and she was the same way as me. And we like got there, and we were like, why are we here? And then it was weird because our school wouldn't let you leave until the dance was over, to like make sure that nobody was doing anything like sketchy. So we were like, oh my gosh, we have to be here for another 2 hours. I was like, we tried. They say we did it. You know, it was fun to get ready, but like I realized that it just wasn't the high school everything. It just wasn't for me. I just liked life better, you know, like not being in like the same environment like for 5 days a week just sounded
yeah, it's not for it's not for everyone. It is not for everyone. So what is what's inspiring you right now?
You know, I don't really know right now because I'm doing a show right now and we're filming it, and that's pretty inspiring for me. But in life, I just think right now traveling. I just like it was crazy because I was such a crazy workaholic until I met my boyfriend, and he just made me realize so many things, and he like made me feel like myself again, you know, because he like would help me get out of the mode. He like taught me how to surf, he taught me how to snowboard, and like we've traveled so much in like the 8 months of our relationship just in California, and I was like, this is crazy. Like I want to do this so bad. Like I want to, my inspiration right now is to like live life to the fullest and like have no regrets. And you know, I want to work at my aunt's coffee shop like that. I like just want to work there and, you know, teach a little bit on the side, not make everything like, I don't want my life to be my job. I want there to be a job in my life, like if that makes any sense. Like
makes perfect sense.
you know what you get what I mean. Like you're the same way, and it's just like I genuinely enjoy working at my aunt's shop. Like it's my happy place for sure. Like we always come to work and we're like, oh my gosh, I miss you so much, and like we talk and like have a good time, and there's like always new people coming in, and then our regulars coming in. Like we have such a great atmosphere. I think it's just so comforting. It's like a comfort zone for me for sure. And I don't know if any of our other like customers feel that way. I hope they do. But me and my aunt and my uncle always like we have the best time there. And it's one of those things where it's like rarely working. Like we are working because we're busy, but like it doesn't feel like it. We're having fun while doing it. It's not like a high stress kitchen, you know. It's like we're excited. We're like getting a lot of orders. Like we're always so positive about craziness, you know, like, oh my gosh, we have 20 tickets on the wall. I'm like, Annie, look, we have 20 tickets on the wall. I was like so excited. I was like, it's just, like I said, the perspective you have, you know, and I think it's so incredible. Like I said, what my aunt has done with her mindset and everything she's put together by herself is so impressive. It's very, very impressive. And unfortunately, she doesn't give herself a lot of credit. And I always try to remind her, I'm like, dude, like you're owning a business during COVID and you're still being really, really nice. I'm like, do you understand how big that is? I'm like, do you understand that? I'm like, and everybody still loves you and you're still open. Like she's such a hard worker, and I like love her so much. I get all like emotional when I talk about her. I'm like, oh, I just love her so much, and I'm really proud of her. It's genuinely something so incredible what she's put together. Like the environment and like how she talks to people is so like different, you know. It's not like a robotic conversation like, hi, how are you? Like, how are you? Oh, I'm good. How are you? Like it's very like personal, and that's like our main focus being like in our customer service area is to be personal with people. Like remember their story, remember their order, like keep up with what's going on in their life, because we genuinely want to. It's not to like rack up business. It's like we never have ill intentions. It's always very genuine intentions. Like we always love to hear, like there are like friends, like, you know, like our customers are our friends, you know. We love to like hear where they're coming from. Like we have a lot of people coming from out of state or from LA, and we're like, oh my gosh, what are you doing down here? And they like tell us, and then they like ask us where to go, and we're like, oh my gosh, like go to the zoo, feed the giraffes, it's really, really cool. Like kind of like dumb stuff like that. But to be able to just, we love being able to just talk to people naturally so that they feel comfortable there. Like they can come there and have good food, have a good conversation, enjoy our patio that we built. Everything that's in there, my aunt has like put together and almost pretty much renovated the place herself. And it's, like I said, she did it all on her own, and she's a woman, and she's like not a feminist, but like still it's kind of hard, you know, like being a woman and owning a business, like it's hard, you know, because it's that respect line that's still kind of missing sometimes. And I mean, it's gotten a lot better for sure, but still it's kind of there. And her, like I said, still being nice and still persevering and being able to like keep up with it, and just, I don't know, it's like hard to explain. It's just like all these like word vomits of like how I'm like so proud of her for everything, like the world pushing back on her like business wise, and her just shoving right through and still being a great person is so admirable. And I just love her to death, and I like really want this business to prosper into what she envisions it to be, because she deserves it 100%.
Well, I'm sure she will. She will.
I have every faith in it. I'm like 100% in. I'm like, got it. We got it, guys.
Creative tips. What is a creative tip or tips that you can provide our audience?
I would say originality is a huge one for me with life and business, is creating something that's your own original idea. Like how I was saying, the logo that we have is my aunt's drawing. It was her little doodle. So I like envision it in my head right now, and I'm like laughing. But the guy like drew it, or like designer for like whatever, the graphic designer, and he drew it perfectly. But it was her own original idea, and everything she's put on the menu, like the design, like everything, the patio to the like the baskets that we put our food in, it's all her own original idea of what she wanted it to be. And with life, I think it's really important that we remember who we truly are, because we get so lost in what we're supposed to be due to social media and what gets most likes or what's more popular and all these things, when it should be what you like. You shouldn't care like if you like want to get bangs because Miley Cyrus got bangs and you're just like, yes, I should get them too. Like, no, like get them if you want it. Like, be your own person and do your own business the way you want to, not what everyone else tells you to do, because that's not living. That's copying. It's like copyright but life, you know.
That's a great tip. What is well, before we sign off here, some words of wisdom. Before we sign off, what are some words of wisdom that you can, couple of words that you can share with our audience before we sign off?
One of them was what we talked about last time we did the podcast, was the little, and we talked about it in this one too, a little more in depth, but little acts of kindness is so big. It's like what we were saying, you know, you never know what's going on with someone. And those little things can go so far for someone. You have like no idea. Like when someone opens a door for me, I'm like, thank you. And I'm like all smiling now. Like, oh, they thought of me. Like doing those little things to make them feel noticed and thought about when you're doing it genuinely is so important. And I think we lose that a lot these days, especially in my like generation. It's hard to kind of put others first rather than yourself. And I think that's really, really important. And just living life, like seriously, it's so hard to get wrapped up, or it's so easy to get wrapped up in all of this, like the COVID drama and I believe in anything is possible. And, you know, I just want to stay safe for other people and, you know, do the best I can. But, you know, like live your life the way you want to. Like if you want to go and learn how to surf and you're 40, just do it. Like just go do it. Like nothing is stopping you except for yourself and doing things that you want to do. And once you like break down that wall of these, like what we talked about, like what ifs and all these things, you see a change in yourself and your lifestyle choices to be happier. And I saw this one video my like boyfriend showed me. It was like money can't buy you like all these things. Like it was $100. You can go to a restaurant and buy drinks. That's good, but going to $100 spending on healthy food, it's too much money. It's like weird how we ratio our money and like our spending and our living life. It's like doing things better for ourselves because we know we deserve it. Is you just have to realize that instead of feeling like you have to do these things. Like, I notice a lot of people in my age group, they tend to think they have to punish themselves because they feel like they don't deserve it. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, well, I feel like I shouldn't do it because I'm not good at it, so I won't do it. Or like they'll just feel like they aren't worthy enough to go do certain things or be a certain way. And I'm like, I think what I'm trying to say is like finding your worth and knowing you deserve it is like a huge thing. Like knowing your worth in life and living it to the fullest and knowing you deserve the best for yourself is so hard to find these days. But once you make that shift in your life, you'll notice so many changes that are for the better for yourself. And I think looking into that, now that we all have a lot of time on our hands, is good. Like kind of like take your quarantine time to just focus. Like we forget to focus on ourselves and what make us happy. And even like the little things, like I ride horses as well. It's like one of my things. And every once in a while I like go ride a horse, and it's just, I'm doing that little thing for myself. Or even just like for people, like go get your nails done, like do something for you, or go drive Coast Highway if you live in Oceanside. I do that sometimes in the morning, like early morning.
Oh, it's best in the morning.
Right? I like sometimes I'll get there a little early, and you know how the coffee shop's right here and we don't open till 7. Get down here at 6:30. I'm like, I'm just gonna I go down Coast Highway, and I was like, I like play my like indie music, and I feel like I'm in a music video type of thing. But yeah, no, it's great in the morning for sure.
Yeah, I love going running in the morning down here by the pier, and it's just, you don't have a lot of people there. It's people there, you know, they're working out or walking, but it's quiet. You got the surfers out there. It's just nice and calm, and that's where honestly that's where I sort of do like a brain dump. Like I get any kind of ideals, insights. Like I'll let myself I'll jog and just, you know, I just work out through things.
Yes, I feel
so yeah, that's my best time. I love going there, or to my gym, the compound. You know, it's generally quiet early in the morning, so I get in there and get a workout in and you know, get my day going. But yeah, definitely take time for yourself. And know that you're worthy. That's
it's like
people need to hear that.
Yeah.
People need to hear that.
It's knowing your worth, you know. Like a lot of people get it tattooed on themselves.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, just get it like a nice little pen if you need to, and like read it. But it's like I said, like those little things to make you feel better. You know, like sometimes when I'm bummed, I like go to a view spot, you know, and I like take a minute and like remember who you are and the like worthiness, like the worth you have for life. Just taking a minute for yourself is so important. And like I always had a hard time doing that because I felt selfish doing it, when I'm like, I could be taking that minute to like clean the kitchen for my mom or something, you know what I mean? Like it's just so important to like take those times in your life, like your days off, which I struggle to do. I'm with you, people. I get really anxious when I have a day off, but to like go do something for yourself, go hang out with friends. Like you gotta take those little moments and not take them for granted, you know. Like I feel like a lot of people realized that right before COVID and then kind of forgot it again. Like we were like, oh my gosh, we didn't know what we had until we lost it. Now we're kind of like falling back into this, like, okay, but taking those moments, those little moments, those special ones, and appreciating them make you so much happier. And I live for the little things. Like one time I told my boyfriend, I was like, if you give me a rock, I'll be happy, you know, because I'm not like a huge, like, buy me Gucci, like all this stuff. Like I'm like, literally, if you give me a rock, I'll name it and I'll cry. Like I'm like not even kidding you. And he like bought me this like heart-shaped rock, but it was like a crystal. Oh. And I was like,
yeah, it's a keeper.
I was like, what? Like, you're joking. And I named it. So if everyone wants to know, I did name it. But it's just.
Wait a minute, what'd you name it?
Alfred. I like name everything. It's like a weird tick I have. I'm like, and I give like inanimate objects like pronouns. Yeah. I'm like, oh look, the rock's rolling. There he goes. Like, it's just, like, dumb stuff like that. But we also bought a cactus and named it No Name. So when people ask what its name is, we're like, oh, it doesn't have it's like No Name. And they're like, oh, okay. But yeah, it's like those, like I said, like those little things, you know. Like, for me, it's a lot of the times it's like me and my aunt and my uncle, the Superdome, dancing in the kitchen when we're like, we'll play good music and we're like making food, and then we'll like switch and like just like kind of like have a good time. It's like
that's
those
the dome.
little things.
That's enjoying life. You'd
I
be
know.
surprised.
We have like a little window right on our patio, and we're like, oh my gosh, people are here. They could totally see us. We're like, oh, but we're like sometimes like don't even care. Like we're having a good time. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think people realize, you know, just being present. You know, just those small moments. You know, and we may have to talk about that for a future episode. But you know, just you know, you really don't realize what you have until it's gone. You know, I'd had some grandparents pass and some years back, but you know, you go back and you think about all the little memories, good and bad. No, it makes you think about like, man, what if I just had some more time, or what if I said this, or
it's like going back to those what ifs. You know, it's like you got to stop doing those what ifs and like live in the present, because you're gonna regret it. Because I definitely did. You know, like I kind of like always went back and forth on like regretting not going to high school, like those prime years, but I was like, that wasn't me. So it was like me trying to figure out like, okay, was it worth it to not go, or was it not worth it? Like, did I miss out? But I felt like I didn't miss out because I wasn't being true to myself when I was going to school. You know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't anybody's fault. Like, it was just me personally. I didn't feel right sitting in a classroom. I was like, I'd rather be working. Like, I was more of like a life experience person than like a 12-year school type deal, you know?
I understand that. I mean, how many... Spoiler alert! You're not missing anything after high school. What? How many friends do you have when you got out of high school?
Well, excitingly, I was friends with this girl that I literally sing tonight. Her name is Alicia Greer. She's probably one of the sweetest people I know, and we were friends through middle school all the way to high school-ish, and then we had like a falling out. And last year, we started getting close again, and it's been very exciting. So the only person that I know that I'm close with, and also another friend of mine, Bella Longwell, they are the only two that I talk to regularly from high school.
Yeah, it's sort of weird, just after high school. It's just,
like, I see them and I talk to them,
but
it's like the people I genuinely like go and hang out with, they're like the only two people. And like it's also my fault. I didn't really go to schools. Know that many people, but like I knew a lot of people, but it just, all my friends have always been older, because I don't know if you could tell them, I don't feel very my age. I feel like a 60-year-old man sometimes.
You're definitely an old soul. You are
a
an old soul.
little bit. Yeah. I do have a record player, if that helps.
I guess, how can people find Come On Over Cafe? How do they contact them? If you can give out any of that information, we'll sign it off from there.
Yeah, so you can always check us out on Instagram, Come On Over Cafe. I have it on my phone, my personal phone. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always message us on our personal Instagram page, Come On Over Cafe. We're based in Oceanside, and I will most likely answer because I have it on me all the time. So if you have any questions or anything, you can always message us. We do have a website, so you can always look us up on like Google or Safari, whatever you're using. And we're on Yelp too, so if you want to see our reviews and our food pictures, you can always go on there as well. Or you can just come check us out personally on Industry Street in Oceanside. The address should be on our website, but just make sure you turn into Industry Street. Don't keep going down Oceanside Boulevard. We get a lot of phone calls of people like, where are you? And I'm like, okay, do you see me? I'm waving my hands.
Yeah, it can be hard to find. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's always worth it. We're the hidden gem. So for sure, it's definitely come check us out. If you come there more than 2 times, we'll probably have your order memorized. So just FYI. And we will probably check on you about 7 to 8 times. That is our minimum. We always joke when like my uncle comes back and we're like, did you check on him 5 times? And he's like, no, only 4. And we're like, we'll go back. Minimum of 5 times. Got to check on him.
That's the Chick-fil-A culture right there.
My pleasure. I know
Yep.
we always say my pleasure, and I'm like, oh, are we Chick-fil-A now?
There's 100 different chicken sandwiches out there, but you will go back for Chick-fil-A sandwich. So hey, other than that, this has been a very enlightening, very awesome episode with Rheigan. And with me. So like I said, hopefully, I'd like to have her on a future podcast, but this will be episode 95. So, getting close to number 100. But other than that, hey, this has been another awesome episode. Hey, you know what? I'm always giving out shout outs. I love my creative community around here. Giving out some shout outs. First of all, my crew with Cobo Pod, Dave, Peyton. They do all the magic. You know, people ask me all the time, how do you produce your podcast? It's all I do is put certain things together. They do all the hard work. They do all the setup for video, audio. Everything sounds great. Everything looks great. It's because of them. They also, Peyton is also a photographer. He's got, if you check out his Instagram, I'll put that in the show notes. He's always selling a lot of his photography, does a lot of great work. Dave has, if you see the video show, this backdrop, all these paintings is from the sound coach Dave. Got beautiful abstract artwork. So if you get a chance, I'll put his information in the show notes as well. And so you might be interested in maybe buying something for your, for your business or buying something for your home. He's got some great pieces.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And also, too, I'm going to give another couple quick shout outs to some artists. First of all, Jesse Owens, good buddy of mine, does a lot of sort of political caricatures. I'm hoping to get him soon on the podcast. Karina, she does a lot of watercolor, mermaid type artwork. And my buddy, Mr. Howler, John Howler, he's got a merch brand. He does a lot of digital illustrations. And he's also, like I said, I will put their information too in the show notes for this. But if you get a chance, please check out their work. Please check out all the stuff they're doing. And if you're local here in Oceanside, they're generally at a lot of the art festivals here, and they usually have a vendor table. So if you get a chance, you listen to this podcast. Hey, let them know, hey, you heard this on the Creative Brew. And but yeah, just giving some love to the creative community. There's probably other people I hadn't even mentioned yet. I'll probably do that in future episodes. But definitely wanted to support all my creative community, all my small businesses around here doing their thing. And on the East Coast as well. So back in my hometown, back in Cleveland, Tennessee. So giving some shout outs to them too as well. But other than that, this has been an awesome episode. And once again, be creative, stay inspired. Thanks.